like I was saying, man, all I know is one day, this was probably like, I want to say maybe a month within me being down there, maybe because I was writing raps, but I was under so much intense spiritual warfare, so much heavy thoughts, tormenting thoughts that it was like I stopped smoking weed just to see if it was the weed, and I remember like, no, it ain't the weed, and then I would be on campus, and then I would be listening to music, and I would be like, man, I don't want to hear this, I don't want to hear this, and I couldn't shake it. I couldn't get away from the music. I couldn't get away from secular music nowhere. I was just so tormented by it because it was like that DVD was starting to become so real to me. You know what I'm saying? And I remember probably like a month into me being down there. So this was like either the beginning of March or mid-March. It might have been closer to mid-March, maybe, or beginning of March. Might have been at the beginning of March. All I could remember was I know God sent me a message and I heard it clearly, and I was just trying my best to get up out of that situation as fast as I could, or as however I could, but my pride wouldn't just be like, my pride wouldn't just let me say I gotta go. I was so loyal to my dudes and just wanted, you know what I'm saying, thinking that that's the only way I could live is write this and write that and trying to blow up this way, trying to blow up that way. And I'm still young, I'm 22 now at that time, so all I know is I got to the studio one day and my producer was like, man, I got a beat for y'all. And he, you know what I'm saying, he was starting to get kind of funny style too. The funny thing about it, he was starting to get kind of funny style with us, you know what I'm saying? But he put on a certain beat, and I believe it was one of the beats that he just wasn't even feeling. But he was just like, man, because he started acting weird, you know what I'm saying? But now that I know how God worked, I can see the things that was going on. But back then I couldn't. But one day I got to the studio, and when I tell you, I told myself I'm not rapping like this. I'm not rapping no more. When the beat he played, you know what I'm saying, he put it on, and instantly when he put it on, it was like I knew what God was saying, because the beat that he played, my producer in Baton Rouge played, he played a beat and it matched the melody of the song that I deleted off my best friend's computer here in Minnesota, way across the other side of the country, on the other side of the South from North. It was like, I ain't writing no more. And when I tell you that melody, and I was just in my head like listening, like, and I knew it was God instantly. And so from there I was like stalling. I would not write, I would just kind of stall, I'd stop smoking. And then it was like, if I did write, I wrote something vague or something, you know what I'm saying? I barely wrote and I barely wanted to record it. But I could just remember my heart was getting so hard as a brick, like, why can't I feel God? Why can't this? Or, you know what I'm saying? And I could just remember, like, man, this is crazy. These words that I'm rapping on this mic, it's powerful, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So one day, I pressed through, even after hearing the beat, I'm like, okay. And so I get to the paper, I get to at the time I wrote raps on the paper. So now I'm at the booth, you know what I'm saying, spitting my flow, and I'm just rapping. I'm spitting off the paper, you know what I'm saying? And I'm kind of nervous because all of the stuff going on, and it's like I'm in this corner in this booth in this corner, rapping my verse on the microphone, recording it. And as I'm going, I'm reading and reading and reading. All of a sudden, I blurt out a word, a fret. You know what I'm saying? That fit. It fit the format of the song. The word that I was rapping fit, and it was like I didn't say that. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying, what I wrote on the paper versus what came out my mouth was completely different things, and it fit in the beat so cold. I was like, whoa, heck no. And so at that point, I was like, nah, this is getting even real, real weirder, as well as it was getting even realer. And I was like, man, nah. And so from that, and they recorded it. I stopped my verse. You know what I'm saying? I finished my verse, flow, all that. I finished my verse. Next thing you know what I'm saying? I get um, they playing the CD, they bringing it around, they driving home with it, and every time they got to that part, I was like, I really didn't say that. You know what I'm saying? But I, and it wasn't nothing crazy, cause I can remember what I said. I wrote down. We was talking about drugs, and I was saying being watched by the feds when we know they the biggest suppliers. It was kind of like a sarcastic remark. You know what I'm saying? I was saying what I wrote down was being watched by the feds when you know they the biggest supplier. You know what I'm saying? What came out my mouth was shout out to the feds. You know they the biggest supplier. And I was like, I didn't mean to say that. You know what I'm saying? But it was like it just came out effortlessly, and I never re-recorded it or nothing. It was just like recorded just like that, and it was like shout out to the feds when you know they're the biggest supplier. I never meant to shout them out on that song. You know what I'm saying? I was saying being watched by the feds when you know they're the biggest supplier, because you know what I'm saying. It was more like trying to kick knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Trying to wake somebody up. But when it said shout out to the feds, I was like, And so from that point on, I was like, man, I gotta stop rapping. So I would stall, and I could not figure out how to get this spirit off me at the time, this mindset. Every day I woke up, I was tormented. And I would be sitting there in the room on campus, or I would be at the apartment, and it would be this voice trying to lie to me, like talking about, where is God? God isn't real. Where is God? God isn't real. And that's when I knew. I was like, this is a mental war. You know what I'm saying? Trying to tell me God isn't real, and I know God real. And it was just like, I couldn't shake those thoughts for what? I was just like, man, I gotta shake these thoughts. But the crazy part is, to go back into the story a little bit, over the winter break, I remember one of the homies had rolled up some weed and crushed up some ecstasy. This is back in them days. Now all these new pills and stuff that kids is using, I can barely even keep up with them. And the funny thing is, we was popping beans back then, sipping lean, rapping about it back then. That's the crazy part. That was mostly what our raps was about. Sipping lean, popping beans, all that. Believe it or not, that's what we was rapping about. Weed, all of that. This is 15 some years ago. Over 15 some years ago. Pretty much 15 some years ago. And I remember one time I hit the ecstasy blunt, and it just, like, it had me just, and I'm so glad I didn't get addicted to it, but it just had me so drowsy. And so, like, I remember one time over the winter break, I'm going back in the story. I remember one time being under this intense spirit that I was just begging God, like, take it from me, because I don't even know how it even happened. But I could just remember sitting in the car being angry. Like, my brother picked me up and the music was playing, and he riding around in his van that he had at the time. And I remember just sitting in this car feeling so angry, and it was like something inside me was angry, but I wasn't angry. It was so weird. It was like, what's inside me that's so angry? But it was like, I don't like this feeling. You know what I'm saying? And I knew it was something that wasn't of God. So I remember falling asleep begging God, like, God, take this from me, please. Whatever this is, I don't want it. Please, I don't want it. And so I took a nap and fell asleep. And when I woke up, it was back to normal. You know what I'm saying? And so at that point, I was like, yeah, man, this is some stuff on a different level. And so, to fast forward back to the story, um, this is around spring break 2006, mid March. After the beat, God showed the beat to me with the melody that matched the melody of the song I deleted. This is after a few other events, and yeah,